Thank you all for being here once again. This is the watch list for UFC 212. Jon Anik alongside our talent relations gurus, Shelby and Mick Maynard. And let's get right to it. UFC 212, June 3rd, Rio de Janeiro, Brazil. Certainly 211 going to be a tough act to follow, but you guys are fearless, so let's get to it. Title unification bout in the featherweight division, Max Holloway. When he lost to Conor McGregor in 2013, he was 7-3. Fast forward 4 years or so now, 17-3. He's won 10 in a row, interim featherweight champ. Trying to chase here the biggest win of his career against the consensus greatest featherweight of all time in Jose Aldo.
Holloway is a curious case because, you know, when I brought him in, he was a baby.
Yeah.
He was so young, and you know, you come to the UFC, it's trial by fire, and it's just amazing to see the growth. And he's become arguably, I mean, he's fighting for the championship, the best featherweight in the world. It's amazing to see where he's gone. And what's even more amazing is this win streak that he's on. To fight the level of fighter that he's been fighting in his UFC tenure, and to go undefeated for so long, you can't equate it to anything. Yeah. I mean, that would be like a perfect season in football. It just doesn't happen. To get to win 10 fights in a row in the UFC is just so monumental. You can't say enough about it. And to see where he's at now, it's amazing. And I can't wait for this striking matchup.
It is crazy. I mean, you're right. You can count on one hand the number of guys in UFC history that have had a double-digit winning streak. It's Hall of Fame level stuff. Now, Vegas think this fight is close on paper. Holloway, great frame, obviously, for this featherweight division. We know what Aldo can do. How competitive a fight do you think this will be?
Oh, it's going to be a very competitive fight. Jose likes to mix in the leg kicks.
Yep.
That's what he's known for, those powerful leg kicks. And I think that's obviously going to be a strategy and try to slow down Max a little bit. And once again, Max has got pinpoint accuracy with his hands, very rangy. Circles were well, good footwork. It's going to be great. Excited about it.
All right, so that is the main event, also part of the pay-per-view card. CLAUDIA GADELHA takes on fellow former world title challenger KAROLINA KOWALKIEWICZ. She, of course, beat Rose Namajunas most recently. So very interesting fight here, and I guess a title eliminator of sorts at 115.
Yeah, I mean, it's the toughest thing for a matchmaker is what do you do for a fighter coming off of a title contender loss. KAROLINA has been asking for this fight, and when fighters talk to me, CLAUDIA is about as gangster as it gets. Because, 5 minutes after her loss to Joanna, she was saying, listen, she was actually texting me saying, when can I fight her again? You have fighters going the other way. She, running away from the fire, she runs towards the fire. And her conversations with me is, I just want to beat up whoever is the best at that moment. Give them all to me, I'll take them all on. She doesn't want tune-up fights, she doesn't want easy fights. She just says, whatever you think is the toughest fight, I want. She's just a perennial top 3, contender to me. And any given day, she's gonna give Joanna hell.
And for KAROLINA KOWALKIEWICZ, of course, also challenged Joanna Jędrzejczyk, but she does have that win over Rose Namajunas. And so Rose is all the rage right now, having beat the karate hottie Michelle Waterson, but that is certainly a feather in the cap of KAROLINA.
And don't forget, I mean, KAROLINA, she did well against Joanna. She had her in trouble for a little while. She put her in a place that no other fighter ever has. So I like the matchup.
All right, Vitor Belfort taking on Nate, the great MARQUARDT. You put this fight together. Prevailing wisdom is this will be Vitor's retirement fight. How did you settle on MARQUARDT as the opponent? Talk us through it.
There were several options we were looking at. I think with MARQUARDT, you get someone that they both have an incredible history in the sport. Obviously, MARQUARDT has held titles overseas in Japan and King of Pancrase. So his background, I mean, he's I guess saying legend of the sport, maybe tough. I mean, he's not ready to retire, but certainly a pioneer. And then you obviously have Vitor Belfort, which is, he is a legend of the sport. Vitor is still ranked in the top 10.
Right.
And so the question is, do you put him against a guy that is also ranked in the top 10 and have the opportunity to go up and fight for the title again? No, he's stated this is his final fight. So I put together a fight that kind of made sense from that standpoint.
And candidly, I think you hit a home run when it comes to the matchmaking. The fan in me has to ask, though, is there any consideration to running it back with Anderson Silva and Vitor Belfort, or not even something that even crossed your mind or your desk?
No, it definitely crossed my mind. Yeah, it was something we talked about. It was, I guess I don't want to say it was ever seriously going to happen. I'm not sure it's a fight either one of them is necessarily begging for, but it's certainly a fight that went through all of our minds, and yeah, would have been interesting.
All right, let's get to the welterweights. And as long as I live, Erick Silva will be must-see TV. He might be up and down a little bit in the UFC, but the man is must-see television here against YANCY MEDEIROS, former lightweight. So far, so good for YANCY at 170 pounds. How did this fight come together?
It's just a fight that flat out on paper just looks wonderful. And so there's no real title contender eliminator or anything like that going on. This is just a great fight. But it's also a fight that, you know, is, I think, more of a must-win for Erick. And, you know, obviously, YANCY wants to move up in the rankings, and that's a good feather in your cap to have, to beat Erick Silva in his home country, you know. And MEDEIROS loved the fight and loved the location, too. And so there's something said for that.
That's one bad Hawaiian right there, YANCY MEDEIROS. All right, another fight that is of particular interest to me, Paulo Borrachinha. We got to work his UFC debut. Couldn't have gone much better, obviously. So 9-0, 9 finishes. Now he draws OLUWALE BAMGBOSE. Your thoughts?
You know, what's interesting about this, I call him Baby Vitor. If you watch his first fight and you watch his style, it's very reminiscent of the way Vitor was, the very new, young Vitor back in the day. He's got great striking, incredibly powerful. He throws his shots with abandon. He just comes forward. He's looking constantly for the knockout. When he fought Gareth McClellan, Gareth is durable, and he came in and attacked him like he had no worries in the world. And of course, he knocked him out. I think it was like 75 seconds. So, like I said, I kind of call him Baby Vitor now. I think he's the future of the division. And in BAMGBOSE, you're going to have another striker that has a tendency for violence. So, you know, my prediction is violence. You know, these guys are going to throw down. I was going to do my best Mr. T. My prediction is pain, but you know, but it is. You know, it's going to be an incredibly fun fight to watch, and I'm extremely excited about it.
And the Holy War Angel, yes, don't blink, has been booked a couple times and has been unable to make the walk, or an opponent's been unable to make the walk. So it'll amount to a layoff of more than a year for BAMGBOSE. Last fought Mutanchi, that was April of 2016. All right, we close it out, Sean, with a fight that I think we could have led with, candidly. Marlon Moraes making his UFC debut against RAPHAEL ASSUNCAO. So no cupcakes, obviously, in this UFC bantamweight division, which has never been stronger or more top-heavy. Your thoughts on Moraes? Long overdue, according to some, crossing over and drawing a top 5 or 10 guy here in ASSUNCAO.
When Cruz was ruling the division, I had always thought, you know, again, our job is to bring in guys that will beat or give your champion hell. That's our job, right? And for me, Marlon was always one of those guys, his style, because he's so good at leg kicking. And so how do you beat a guy with amazing footwork and good distance is you get yourself a leg kicker. Marlon's one of the best at it. And so I had my eye on him, wasn't able to for the longest time to bring him in. But yeah, that's a guy that I thought, well, he's going to give Cruz problems. There's a new champion now, but a guy who's got great footwork as well. And I think Marlon really fits well in division. And also, too, there's not anybody else like Marlon right now at 135 pounds with his kicking prowess. And so he's a great addition to the division. With that said, he's fighting another perennial contender, a guy you just can't put away. Yeah. He's tough, top 5. We'll see what we get. I don't know, but you know, whenever you get an amazing fighter from somewhere else and you bring him in, you throw him into the top 10, who knows what we're going to get. But I think it's a solid matchup.
The talent right now at 35, 45, 55, and 70 is just crazy. And when you look at the UFC bantamweight division on paper right now, the top 10, and of course Moraes not ranked because he's coming into the promotion, just absolutely loaded. And for Moraes, he's won 13 in a row, finished his last 4. We'll see how it goes. Marlon Moraes making his UFC debut against RAPHAEL ASSUNCAO. Part of the pay-per-view main card, June 3rd at UFC 212. All right, we'll be back with a watch list for UFC 213. Until then, for Sean, Shelby, and Mick Maynard, I'm Jon Anik. Enjoy the fights.
I thought this was the Tom Brady tribute show.
Let's go!